What is up, Trash Pandas? How you doing today? Don Juan, your Raccoon King, coming at you again from this time the secondary studio location for the Raccoon King Enterprises and recording services. This is from the girlfriend's garage, right? Pretty quaint, pretty cute, pretty cozy. I like it. I dig it. We did a little bit of cleaning up today, and I was like, hey, you know what? This would make for a great secondary backdrop for videos. So you might see this in some more videos to come, right? I think the garage is a fitting place to record these. I spend a lot of time working on the bike. Not this one, my garage usually, but we'll see if we can get acquainted to this one. So, without further ado, here we are to do a video that was requested by absolutely zero of you. That's because nobody really cares for these videos, but I think that they provide a lot of value. What we're going to be doing today is a top 5 things I hate about the Sportster. The reason I want to do these videos, and I'm going to do them also for the Sport Glide, is because I think if you are looking for a motorcycle, if you want to be an informed consumer, you want to know not just what's awesome about the motorcycle, but what's not awesome about the motorcycle. That way you can say, hey, this is something I can compromise with, this is something I'm okay with, this is something I can upgrade, or if it's just, hey, flat out, this is a deal breaker, this is something that I don't like, this is something that's going to steer me away from this motorcycle. So hopefully this top 5 or negative 5 list, right, helps somebody out there if you're deciding whether you want to purchase a Sportster or not. Hopefully it clarifies some things for you and gives you some insight on what I've had, my experiences with this Sportster now that I've had it for about a little over a year and a half now almost. But yeah, again, thanks for watching. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, tune into the next video, drop a comment if you think anything was cool, outstanding, amazing, or noteworthy from this video. Let's dive in. Alright, Trash Pandas, for reason number 5 why I dislike the Harley-Davidson Sportster. Well, I had to bring out the Sport Glide to showcase that, and that's for one very special reason. That's that one extra gear. That's right. So 5 gears on a Sportster, I just don't think cuts it. If you have a Sportster 1200, or if you have a heavily modded Sportster, if you've gone stage 1 plus, you know that there's a lot of power left in that engine. I just feel like it supports 6 gear. So leaving it with only 5 gears, I feel like comes short. Harley-Davidson could have done a lot more. But I get it. It's a commuter. It's a smaller bike, right? It's not meant for wide open highways. It's meant for, you know, small roads, country roads, hometown roads, or just commuting. So I get why they wouldn't put the 6th gear in it. But if you ride a Sportster, tell me you have not reached for the 6th gear. Like, well, once, twice a week. I do it all the time. I feel like it has more to go, to give, and I try to shift, and it's like, oh, no, that's right, I'm maxed out at 5. It's funny finding it out on the highway, and you're like, but that's it for me. Reason number 5 why I dislike the Sportster. Again, I think it could have more, it has more power, so I could definitely see it having another gear to give more output for that. Alright, Trash Pandas, reason number 4 why I dislike the Harley-Davidson Sportster: suspension. So this is kind of a shortcoming of the bike already to start off with. Again, it's a very intermediate starter bike. It's not designed to do any one thing really amazing, except be kind of like an all-around street road bike, right? So the suspension kind of has a few shortcomings with it that I think could be made better easily with upgrades, or could have just been a factory option and made that a route to go down with. So for the rear suspension, your pros and cons, right? Your pros, it's adjustable. It's also durable. It's Harley Davidson built, right? 3, it's simple. It's pretty relatively simple, right? There's no additional reservoir. There's nothing crazy to the installation to it. So 3 quick pros for it. For the cons, the adjustability of it, first of all, it's only adjustable to the spring, right? So that limits you only on kind of like the shock part. It doesn't adjust the rebound or the compression rate of it. 2, for the cons of the suspension, it doesn't have a reservoir. Again, it's very basic, it's very minimal. The travel that it does have, you're still gonna feel it. 3, for the cons of it, yeah, we'll leave it at that. 2's enough for the cons. Going over to the front suspension, right? So the front suspension, I think on the 48s or on some of the bikes, they have inverted forks, which is a little bit, it's a preferred option because that way it's thicker up front, it's more stable up front. So just kind of like a weird manufacturing thing that they do. Pros about it, again, it's Harley Davidson, it's built to last well. I've heard people taking these bikes up to the Himalayas. I've heard people taking these bikes across the country. So they'll take a few bumps and hits along the road, right? Cons, it's not adjustable in any way, right? So if you're looking for a performance Sportster build, this is a good place to start, but just know that suspension is probably the first thing that you're going to tear off with the bike. All right, Trash Pandas, reason number 3, or thing number 3 that I dislike about the Harley Davidson Sportster was the gas tank. Gas tank on 883s, most 883s comes in at a stock 3.4 gallons. The 48s, some of those come in with a 2.4 gallons. That's atrocious. 2.4 gallons is enough to get you from one gas station to the next. That's about it. 3.4 gallons, that can get you around town. It can move you around for 2-3 days, depending on what your commute is, before you have to stop and get gas. But it just, to me, it wasn't enough. So I know that when I was looking at this motorcycle, one of the first things that I noticed was that the 3.4 gallon tank. And I asked around, I looked on forums, YouTube videos, all this good stuff, if there was any way to upgrade that. And there most definitely is. You can either go with a Fat Bob tank, you can find a converted tank or a brand new tank that will fit the motorcycle, and that's what I found for mine. It's a 4.4 gallon tank. And then some people also just take the gas tanks off other Sportsters. So for example, I think it's the 1200 or some of the Nightsters, they have a 4.5, 4.4 gallon gas tank. Things to keep in mind, if you're going to make that conversion, just make sure that it's the same year, same model, that it'll fit. Goes without saying, but make sure that it's for a carbureted versus fuel injection tank, because the pump will have a different opening, it'll be a different style tank, and you'd have to do a lot to get them to fix to cross over. But it was one thing that, again, I just didn't like about the Sportster from the get-go. It didn't hold me back from purchasing, obviously, but it was like, wow, why? If they have a 2.4 and a 3.4, why not make the 4.4 or bigger? Why not make that a factory option, right? That could be something that gets the hurdle over for a lot of people on why they wouldn't buy this motorcycle. I get that the heritage of this motorcycle kind of started off just as a small city commuter, as a small around town cruiser, something for short distances. So I get it, right? It never started off with a big gas tank because that was never the purpose of the gas tank. But the thing is, you got to understand, times change. People are moving around a lot more. People want that extra capacity, that extra distance. So, I don't know. If I was Harley Davidson, I would offer the option at least to have a 4.4, 4.5, whatever, but just a bigger gas tank with the motorcycles. So there you go. Reason number 3 why I dislike the Sportster comes with a small gas tank. You can change that. It's all right. You can change that up. All right, folks. Reason number 2 why I dislike the Harley Davidson Sportster. You see, it's kind of hard to hate on the Sportster because it was never really meant to be amazing at one thing in particular. It's just kind of like a smorgasbord of motorcycle culture and capability that pulls it off kind of well. It's not your 1,000-mile challenge touring bike, but it will get you across country if you wanted to. It's not meant to go overlanding and dirt roading and off-roading and all this crazy stuff because of its suspension limitations. But it can if you ask it to. It's definitely not meant to go 1,000 miles and no, it can't go 1,000. It's not meant to go 150 miles an hour. But with the right mods, I mean, you'll get close to that. I don't know if you'll want to, but it'll try. Again, the Sportster is just a little bit of everything. It does really amazing at it, so it's kind of hard to hate it for anything in particular, when you see it through that lens, noticing that it's not meant to be exactly this or exactly that. It's an all-around bike. It's a platform. It's a great place for you to start off with and say, this is what I want to do with my bike. This is what I want to do with my Sportster. And then go for it, and then do it.